Today, we're going to be talking about what it means to qualify a lead. One of my favorite sayings is the better you market, the less you have to sell. Think about that saying when it comes to leads. Leads are the lifeblood of any sales organization. However, non-qualified leads can be a drain on your entire organization and cause stagnation in your sales process. So today, I want to show you how we can qualify leads to improve performance. So the quality of leads can absolutely boost or break sales within an organization. Knowing how to qualify a lead can set your company or organization apart and set them up for great success. So today I want to dive into, first off, what is a lead? Number two, what are some things you can do to qualify a lead before it arrives to you? And what are some things you can do after it arrives to you? Finally, I want to show you some steps in qualifying a lead and what that can mean for the bottom line of your organization. So what is considered a lead? So I like to look at it at two ways. Number one, they've invested time or they've invested money. Typically, a lead is somebody who has bought something from you or an association that you're familiar with or that the consumer is familiar with. So they've invested money. When somebody invests money, usually they're pretty motivated in whatever it is they're spending money in. But the other aspect is investing time. One of our most valuable assets as an individual is our time. When we invest time into something, that shows that we're motivated, that we're serious. Early on in my career with my organization that did education sales, I remember we got a lead from a group. They said, listen, these people have not spent any money, but they've filled out what we called their vivid vision. They've taken time to write down exactly what they see for themselves in the future is a vision they see of themselves that's successful, and we've asked them to do it very vividly. Now we thought, oh my goodness, these leads aren't going to be very good. They haven't spent very much money. They've spent no money. We got these leads. They ended up being the highest converting lead we'd ever seen to that point in our organization. They were called the vivid vision leads. It was amazing when somebody invested that much time and energy to paint their future vision of what they wanted. Those people were highly motivated to move forward and to buy an educational program that could help them get there to where they wanted. So now that we talked about what a lead is, they've invested time or money, let's talk about the different types of leads out there. Now, a lot of times a lead will start with a big funnel. The top of the funnel is wider. It's capturing a wider audience with something that's free or costs very little money. As they travel down the funnel, they're spending more time or more money to get something that's going to help them towards their goals, right? That's the reason they're spending time and money, is they feel that what they're buying is going to help them accomplish a desired outcome. So when we've looked at leads in the past, if somebody bought something, they're a great lead. If they've invested time, they've attended a seminar, they filled out a vivid vision, that's a great lead. If you can get a buyer to buy an additional product down that funnel, they become even more motivated. Now, if you can get them to buy something, buy an additional program, and they take time to fill something out, those are phenomenal leads, right? Just like when somebody spends all day at an event, at a seminar, and they buy something, but they also fill out something saying they'd be interested in a coaching consultation call, those become great leads. Those are all qualifying aspects of lead generation that can make the leads converting on the back end super exciting and super profitable, generating a lot of revenue for your organization. We won't get into the hierarchy of leads. I've got another episode that you can go watch where I talk about which leads are the best, but knowing that the more people invest time and money and at different stages where they do it time and time again, those become really good leads. One of the best leads we've seen out there is individuals who organically consume content. So they are seeking it out and spending lots of time, lots of hours consuming content around that topic. And generally speaking, the less quality of leads you get, the morale of your team goes down. The higher quality, the morale goes up, revenue goes up. Everything is better when you can improve the quality of the leads that come into your organization. So let's talk about how leads are generated. Now, there's a lot of different ways. They can be done online. They can be done at seminars. They can be done through social media channels. There's a lot of different ways which leads are generated. Ultimately, it comes down to them investing time and money, as we talked about. So how do you improve the lead quality or qualify a lead better prior to it coming into your organization? One thing that we've always done, because most organizations we've worked with, they just consider, hey, this person bought something from me. We're going to pass it over to your organization. You represent our back-end sales organization, and let's see if you can get sales off of these. We've always counseled them and said, listen, if we can get those buyers to take a few minutes and fill out a consultation, if they can raise their hand and answer a few questions, a few qualifying questions, they become even that much of a better lead. So those are things that we've implemented where we've seen great success in working with organizations or lead providers to improve the quality of those leads before they arrive in our organization. This became evident to us early on. When we were creating our own offer, we had individuals that would buy a product from us. And we get those product buyers on the floor and they would do great. But we realized if that product buyer could also fill out a consultation, the value of that lead, the metric that we measured it by, almost doubled. It went up by 70%. So by them taking an additional action is going to improve the quality of the lead. And improving the quality of the lead increases revenue, increases morale. It's definitely an upward spiral in the right direction. Another way you can qualify the lead prior to that lead coming into your organization is having them set a calendar appointment. Now, you want to use some sort of tool like Calendly to where when they set that appointment, there's reminders set out so you're not wasting the time of the sales representative. When they set a calendar appointment and it's reminded and it's confirmed, it might even be important to have somebody call to confirm that. Those become good leads because they have it on their calendar. They're planning to have that call so they know that it's coming. And one last way to improve the quality of the lead prior to it entering your organization is to provide an opportunity for them to call in. One thing we noticed is when somebody bought something online, if you could put on there a thank you page that said, hey, if you want to jumpstart whatever it is you're doing, and go ahead and give us a call right now. They would dial in and be directly transferred to a sales consultant who could run them through what we called our needs analysis to perform that analysis to see where they are, where they wanted to get to, and see if we could help them advance their educational desires to what they wanted to do. So getting them to call in is another step to help qualify that lead prior to entering your organization. So we had a group that we worked with a long time ago. They would do events and they said, man, the people attend these events, it's 3 days, they spend this much money, let's give you those leads. And we went to them and said, listen, what if we could get you to encourage them to fill out this consultation form? It was a challenge, right? They filled it out in form. We'd have to gather up all those forms. We'd bring them, we'd enter them in, get some data entry people to do that. But I'll tell you, that made a world of difference by having them at the event fill out a quick questionnaire, raising their hand, say they're interested in learning more. And so I promise you, these strategies prior to those leads entering your organization will make all the difference in the world. Now, what happens when you get a lead that's only a buyer? Are there things that you can do to improve the quality of the lead when it comes into your organization and it's only made one step in that process? There are some things to do and some things that actually work really well. Number one, you could send out to them a quick questionnaire. You could say, listen, we want to work with you. We're excited to talk to you. If you would just answer these few questions, we'll get back in contact with you on a scheduled time. You can also have them schedule appointments. So all the things you did prior to that lead entering your business, you could do after it enters your business. It's just a little bit harder to get the type of results and to get the type of participation that you hope for. But one other thing we've done as an organization, we have a small appointment setting team that will actually dial some of those leads and set appointments for our higher quality sales representatives. Now, what that does is it weeds through some of the stuff that might be difficult to get, and it's always utilizing our team's best resources, some of our better sales representatives working some of those better leads. So ultimately, what does qualifying a lead either before it comes to your organization or after mean for your business and bottom line? Anytime you can qualify a prospect and you can get them to take certain actions and then that lead then goes to one of your better sales representatives, everything improves. Morale, revenue, bottom line. So we are big fans of qualifying leads. Anything you can do to qualify them before or after they arrive to you is going to make a huge difference. One last story. There was an individual we were working with that had just really started to take off on YouTube. They'd seen some great organic hand raisers that said, man, I love your content. I want to learn more. But she did something really interesting. After each video, she would push them to a webinar. At this webinar, they would get 30 minutes of great content. At the end of that webinar, she would drive them to a page where they'd fill out a questionnaire, a consultation. Because they'd taken that extra step and listened to the webinar and they felt like they got tremendous value, when they filled out that consultation, those leads became some of the most valuable leads we've ever had in our organization. And so there's always creative ways to improve leads, to qualify leads even better. And I'd love to hear what you've done. These are some things that we've seen that have worked well, but I'd love to hear your comments. Comment below. I'd love to engage in a dialogue with you. As always, I've got my free link below, aaronsalstraining.com. It's a 12-part series, Sales and Influence, and it will help you in your organization. It'll help all your sales individuals. Once again, thanks for stopping and viewing my videos. Have a great day.